Alright, we are on the wiring, and I know right now you guys are probably distracted by this sweet hat that I have. Oh my god. So, these are going to be available very soon on the website, brickhousebuilds.com for you guys. So, they're going to be shipped directly to your house. Hopefully you guys like them, but I'm going to offer them in this black color as well as the traditional black and gray like you've seen me wear in the past. But just got this one yesterday. Pretty excited about it. Okay, so we're deep into the initial planning and layout stages of the wiring here. You've seen I've been messing with the controls, obviously, and then just trying to create a general plan of where we're going to go. So now I'm starting to kind of loosely put some wires on the bike to kind of make sure the routing is going to work for me. So as of right now, you can see my layout here a little bit. I've got, this is where the Morty's going to sit. And I think I'm going to get the race on back here as far back as possible, and I think I should clear with the seat, you know, because there's a potential that it could be a little too tall with the adhesive that I want to put on the backside. But regardless, we'll make it fit. As you can see here, I've got a couple larger diameter, like my 6-gauge battery cables. So I'm just test fitting. So this is going to be my main ground lug on the frame here for the center of the bike, and I'll tie in grounds from front and back to that point as well as back to the battery. So I have my cable lug here, or my wire, and that runs back to the negative side here, and then my positive is going to run just from here real short up to this post right here. So it's going to probably loop under, or I might flip it and bring it over the top. I don't know yet, because there's a cover that goes to the solenoid, which I might use, but it's not really a necessity since this thing's never going to get rid in the rain. And then from there, I will have my starter cable, which is this really long one, which I haven't cut back yet, but I did run it down and terminate it and do a nice terminal there. So all I have to do is just trim this one and then get it fitted on that side. For the key, I'm probably going to take all the covering off of this and go ahead and figure out if I can just replace those terminals completely. That way I can run a non-stop line all the way back to my solenoid here, and that would be awesome. As far as everything else, everything's kind of, it's just it's just going to be real loose right now until I get more dialed on the routing. I did order a bunch of terminals this morning. I'm actually going with the Koso gauge here, the connectors. Instead of doing extension harnesses, I'm gonna kind of repin and just build my own here, routed exactly how long I need, because I'm particular and I don't want just extension harnesses everywhere. Yeah, just rocking and rolling. I got even more wire in now, some 20 and 22 gauge, which is probably going to be the bulk of what's going to be ran from the Morty system forward to the controls and such, and then like the outputs are probably going to be maybe like 18 gauge or 16 gauge depending on the predicted amperage that I might need to draw from them. So we'll figure that out though. I don't really know how to make a lot of updates with this. It's just it's very time consuming, but as I wire this thing more and more and we get further to completion, I'll be able to explain everything a lot more clearly. So hang in there. Battery terminals. 6 gauge bulk wire from O'Reilly's. Six gauge terminal. Also O'Reilly's, you can buy these in bulk. Test fit our length. Yep. leads, although nice, they're just too short to reach where I want on the bike. So I'm going to resolder on some longer leads, basically. Just to, you know, I don't want to have a butt connector, not a butt connector, but a splice or anything in the middle of my main power feed wires. So just gonna throw some heat on this thing and break it off. Okay. That. here's the part where I find out if all the math that I did was correct. So I've got the light centered on the what would be the middle LED, based off 35 LEDs with the center of the frame. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start in the center here, and then I'll apply heat and then bend it outward. And then, yeah, hopefully it will sit with an even tight gap. The tighter the gap, the better the math that I did. So I've already went ahead and I acetoned this. I'm going to go ahead and give it a quick burst of air just to clean off any potential dust. I'll pull the backing off and we'll start getting some heat to it. All right. That is even as we're ever going to get it. Me being picky, we have a tiny bit more gap over there, but that could have been my center mark being off. So anyway, that is damn close, and that looks so good. I'm so glad I spent the time to make this relief in here. I'm gonna go ahead and put some tape on the outsides here just to make sure it stays put. Give it 24 hours or so. Okay, so as I've explained, we're not passing any current through the handlebars themselves or through the switches themselves more specifically. So what I've actually done is I've disassembled the controls and pulled the individual switches out. And then from here you can see the solder on contacts. I've taken off all the factory wiring because basically all we're looking for per the Morty system, is a signal to ground, which the Morty itself is just going to detect, basically like a voltage drop or just some kind of change. It's going to pick up on that button, sensing a pathway to ground. So it can measure that, and it's like, I don't know, 10,000th of an amp or something like that. So there's very, very limited current going through here. So basically what we do, let's say for the kill switch, for example, we're going to use the Morty wiring code here, and we're going to go with a just a red on one side and then a black on the other. Now the black is also going to be the same common that we're going to use for the engine start switch, okay? As well as the front brake switch. So basically everything just gets wired to ground. Now what that allows us to do is actually use a short piece of ground and tie all those together via a splice and keep that all within this control, and then that leaves us with one 22 gauge wire coming out of the control per side. Now we'll still have the signal, so we'll have like a red, we'll have orange for the front brake, start switch to the solenoid basically, so this will come out, go into the Morty, that'll be your violet, and then black. So I think all in all, yeah, in this instance we're going to have 4 wires coming out of this control, which is pretty awesome. And they're small gauge wires too, and I could use even smaller than this if I wanted, but I have 22 gauge and I like using it. So as of now I'm going to go ahead and get the soldering iron heated up, and I'll start cutting lengths of this. We'll get them soldered on and reassembled.